And welcome back. It's been a little while since I put out my last video, and this is why. This is going to be a quick video about the Pitot tube and what I did to install this, all of my thought processes, things I was worried about, things like that. But as you can see, it's essentially complete now. I've got it all set up, ready to be riveted in place, including the bracket that's attached to the rib to kind of help structurally for some stability. So, as I talked about, this has been something I've been kind of dreading for a little bit as far as how I'm going to install this, where I'm going to place it, and all that kind of stuff. But I finally decided to go ahead and bite the bullet and get it done. So, as I said, this will be a quick video to kind of going over that process and then hopefully moving on. I've got my fuselage kit coming next week, so I want to try to get the wings taken care of at least as best I can before I get that fuselage kit in the shop next week. So, on we go. Alright, here we are on the left wing. This is the fifth rib from the end of the wing, and this is where I'm going to install this bracket. Now you can tell I've got a side bracket that's mounted here. I'm going to be drilling holes through that so that it'll be able to rivet to the rib, but then it'll also rivet to the base here, and that'll just add extra support so it doesn't wobble so much in the wind. But also, slide this in. It's also going to be mounted to these three holes on the wing spar itself. So that way it's in there, both riveted on this side and riveted on this side for all stability. And then obviously the Pitot will go in. I'll cut the tubing so that everything can go into the cab like it's supposed to, and minimizing the kind of binding. So I'm just outboard of the aileron bracket here. And so it won't get in the way of anything. The only thing I'm going to have to figure out is exactly where to install the heater controller, and I haven't quite figured that out yet. So the heater controller, I've heard some folks just mount it somewhere like this on the ribs of the aileron, or the ribs of the wing, but I'm not sure if that's how I want to mount this. The issue being I want to make it so that it's accessible should I need to replace it, or any problems that I have with it. The inspection panel is here, so I want to make sure that it's accessible through that access panel. So it'll be somewhere on this rib. I'm just not exactly sure exactly where it's going to go in this section. So as you heard me talking about, it was quite a bit of thought going into this as far as what I wanted to do, how I was going to install the Pitot assembly here. It took me a while to kind of figure out. I knew where I wanted to install it, just not exactly how to go about doing that. And so I watched several videos of other builders and went on the forums and kind of got an idea of how I should go about this. And I finally decided on that bay just outboard of the aileron bracket. One of the things that I picked up from the other builders is to add that side bracket to help with the stability, just to make sure it doesn't move while in flight, using more than just the wing skins. Although they probably would have been enough, I just wanted to make sure. Once I got it all figured out, then it was just a matter of transposing that location onto the skin, which is what you see me doing here. The dining kit comes with a template, as you saw, and it's just a matter of using a punch to mark those locations and drill those out, and then cutting out the center portion where the mast will stick through. It took quite a bit of filing, but it did come out pretty well. I was actually very impressed with how easily it was to kind of get it put together, and how well it fit. There's not much of a gap at all in the skin and the mast for the Pitot tube. It just took quite a bit of elbow grease just to make sure the hole was just right. One of the things I was worried about was how to line everything up to make sure that the bottom skin hole was lined up correctly. And so that's where I used the three holes from the aileron, or I'm sorry, the wing spar. Everything was focused off of those 3 points, and when I first marked those on the mast,
base, I just used a very fine point permanent marker to mark the holes, and then just did a center punch there and as a drill guide and drilled those 3 holes there, and everything seemed to work out really well. And again, with the template, just use those same 3 holes as the guide, clecoed that in place and just marked the wing from there, and was able to line everything up, and it came out really well. In the end here, you'll see me assemble everything with the bottom skin in place, and there was minimal binding or issues with the skin lining up with where it needs to be with it lined up with the mast as well. So I'm really happy with how this turned out, but like I said, it was a lot of thought going into this as far as how I wanted to do that. Now, once I get all this put together, the issue is going to be I'm going to have to obviously put the skin on with the mast in place, and then rivet. I'm going to use blind rivets, countersunk blind rivets to hold it all in place. But then I'm going to have to put the pitot itself in there and then kind of reach through that access panel to connect all of the tubing and everything once I get all of that routed. So that'll be the only part that's left of this. So overall, really impressed with how this came together. I worried a little more than I should have, I think. But again, happy with how it turned out. So that's where I'm going to end this. For those that continue to watch these videos, I appreciate it. If you have any comments or questions, by all means, leave that below. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell, and you'll get notifications anytime I put these videos out. So we'll see you next time around. Hopefully by then I'll have my fuselage kit in hand, and we'll go to work on that.